at the zoo. Can you guys see that? We good?
Got it.
Lovely.
Nice.
Excellent. All right, cool. So let me get stuff in
The little
here.
the one with the hat's wrapped around some kind of animal in the middle. I can see
Yeah,
that.
hairy monkey
That's
thing. Yeah, that it didn't fit in one of the cages. We couldn't actually identify that. But guys, seriously, I'm excited to show you this plan. It's a custom plan. I made it for you. It's not a package. We had a conversation. I built something custom for you. If you like what I'm about to show you, we're excited to get started as quickly or as slowly as you see fit because you're the business. That's it, right? There's no surprises here, but ask me questions along the way. If you want to know anything, I am a corporate trainer. I'm designed to answer questions, take advantage of the opportunity, and know that if you do end up using us, we want to be a partner. I want to be a resource to you guys on an ongoing basis. We expect you to ask all kinds of questions about products and things we do or other people do and all that stuff. We just want to be an extension of your brand at the end of the day. But let me dive into this real quick. Don't read all the words on the slides. You'll never get the time back. I'm going to make it really easy. There is a laundry list of some of the stuff that Townsquare does on this slide. Mobile apps, connected TV, email, paid search, social media platform. Like, seriously, if something happens digitally, we're doing it. But the truth is, many of the things on the slide aren't in the plan I built for you. They didn't make sense there, so they're not there. But just know that we do a lot more than you're going to see in this plan. If there's other things you want to dabble in, know about, like ask us. We're happy to help. Also, if you have other businesses, relationships, people you work with that need help, there's a whole lot of stuff we do that's not in the strategy, and you should just kind of know that. But I'm going to get off that. This is kind of a representation of our conversation like a week ago. And the opportunity that I left with was help us to grow the test really that we were given is help us to grow smaller customers. And you actually gave me Phoenix and Las Vegas as the two areas of opportunity, where if we start bringing you smaller customers, the restaurants, independent hotels, B&Bs, that kind of stuff, that's really where it's at. I'm going to tell you right now, I expanded the geography a little bit, and I'll explain why as I go through the plan. But we're so data focused, guys. I'm so good at reaching people with data that I needed more scale to do what I wanted to do. And I didn't blow it up, and you guys will see that in just a minute, but just so you guys know. The strategy from a strategic perspective, high level, and we're going to get into the tactics in a second, in the middle there, is target owners and decision makers of these specific types of businesses and educate them, because they need to know more about you. They need to know why they should be using you. We talked about video being an important element of that. You guys have a lot of video. It's kind of the perfect nexus. So it's not all video, but video educates, and that's going to be a big part of the campaign. There's a couple of ways that I'm going to measure this for you guys if you take advantage of that. And we're going to talk about that as I kind of go through the tactics themselves. But any questions here, or did I seem to get the marching orders right?
Yeah, I don't know about small independent hotels unless they have a restaurant.
True, and that's going to be a modifier, so 100%.
Okay.
Got it. All right, so let's talk, how do you do this? Like, how do you reach these people? There's layers that I'm going to show you here, guys. Actually, I forgot to get something up. I need to pull something up real quick because I want to make a point. And the point is I'm going to use a sales trap on you guys in a second, and it's kind of fun. I have a good time doing it. So YouTube is the first tactic, guys, that I want to use to try to educate the right people, these business owners, the influencers, to hit you guys up, to know more about you and actually see you as an opportunity. Within YouTube, guys, you can target really specific things with data. And I can job title target people. And that's kind of the common theme through this entire strategy, is hitting people based upon the job titles they have. Now, you guys didn't pass over the job titles yet, and that's fine. So I went with what I could research, but you could nuance this with me, and all this plan is nuanceable. It's not set in stone. But out of the gates, I said, okay, I want to talk to restaurant owners. I want to talk to independent hotel owners, and yes, if they have a restaurant. I want to talk to people that own B&Bs and the school administrators. Those seem to be the bigger buckets of the right people, if you will, but we can nuance that. So with YouTube, what I like about YouTube is it's an educational medium. Bill, Dan, if you use YouTube, the last time you did, not YouTube TV, YouTube proper, you used it to learn something. How do I make a sauce? How do I fix my car? That's why people use YouTube. And if it's true, when they're in YouTube, they're mentally more open to suggestion because they're in a learning format. So if I can get video produced, or you have video to pass over, we can target it directly to these groups of people when they actually go to YouTube to watch what they're going to watch. And they're going there to watch goats with sweaters, right? Or they're going there to watch how to fix their Jeep. And this is that skippable commercial that if you use YouTube, you're accustomed to. You're sitting there waiting to skip it once that 5 seconds is up. Makes sense? That's the product you guys are familiar with?
Yep.
Okay. So I want to make a couple of points here. Number one, if we're targeting the right people with that video, we have a very good success rate of getting people to watch the entire video. And my instincts, Bill, with you and Dan are when you guys go to YouTube for whatever you go there for and a commercial starts playing, is it fair to say you skip that commercial 99 times out of 100, if not 100 out of 100 times, because it means nothing to you and you were there to actually learn something. So skip, skip, skip. Is that fair? Okay. If
Yep.
I were to ask you to give me your best educated guess, when we take videos for Pacific Seafoods and I deliver you directly to a business owner in YouTube, how often do you think we successfully get someone to watch that whole video without skipping? You guys are maybe 1% at best. What percentage do you think we successfully get people to watch you?
5.
Okay. What do you think, Bill?
I would have said even less than 5%. So really
Okay.
not much more of a lift.
All good. I
And
love how
when you're
wrong
talking
you
about
guys are.
owners, we're probably going to want to get chefs
That we can add
because they're the ones
absolutely.
that, okay.
Dig it. Okay, those are the job titles I wanted, and that's totally cool. I can add that to what we're talking about here very easily. But you guys gave me a guess, top line guess, 5%. 5% of the time, you guys successfully get someone to watch a whole YouTube video. Let me kind of blow your hair back here. In the last week, and this dashboard that I have as a VP is the entire country and one big dashboard. So in the last week, we've delivered YouTube videos on behalf of our clients 1.1 million times in a week. We nail it 80% of the time. VCR stands for view completion rate. So when I take a video on behalf of a client and I deliver it to their targeted audience in YouTube, 80% of the time they don't skip 1 second of that video. And you guys were thinking 5%. It's a super, super strong number. Why? Because data works. And when you guys go to YouTube and you watch whatever you're going to want to watch and that commercial starts playing, you don't care and you skip it 99 times out of 100 because it's not relevant to you. It's not targeted you and there's bad data. But when you get a piece of content to someone that it makes sense, they watch that thing. That's why we hit such a high completion rate. And that in of itself is a cool thing. And I could do the dance on, oh, hey, 80%. You know what's better? If someone skips 1 second of the video we deliver on your behalf, Bill, it's free. We don't charge. We hit the targeted audience. They could watch 29 seconds of a 30-second video and hit skip, and it's free branding for Pacific Seafoods. Don't charge you a penny. They know more about you after watching 29 seconds than they would have watched in 0. If someone completes the video, we charge you 15 cents for earning the eyeballs and the mind share. And they know more about you later. And the truth is, people don't go to YouTube to go to websites. And Dan, I know you know this, right? So I'm going to hit you to the right audiences in YouTube, and we're going to brand the heck out of you to the business owners, chefs, right? The right people. And they're not going to click a YouTube video to come to Pacific Foods. No one does. People don't use YouTube as a website vehicle, but they'll know more about you, and it's going to hit you in the top of the brain. When they need you later, they'll remember you in a search. It's just going to help your SEO, SEM results. But YouTube is a really, really good way to brand and educate the right group of people while they're sitting there with the mind open and a lot of free branding. I just love the no charge for anything less than a full view. Questions about YouTube in particular?
Yeah, so do you have any sort of attribution or lift on web traffic that you can measure after you run a
Not to,
campaign and you get 1 million impressions on, one particular client, and then,
sure.
sure,
Not
they got the
really.
views, but how can you correlate that back?
Attribution for YouTube is a little light because it's a branding medium, but there's a couple of things that we can say. Number one, you could certainly look at your overall SEO results and see if you get a lift from the start of the campaign, but you're not going to know if that lift is coming from YouTube or some other element of the campaign in all candor, right? Because I'm transparent. So there's a couple things that you'll be able to see. Within the reporting for YouTube, you'll be able to see completion percentages by creative. So if we have 2 or 3 different creative messages that are all saying something a little different, maybe positioning different products or services or whatever, we can A/B split test which one is more likely to get the completion and therefore tell us what the consumers are interested in. So we can certainly do that. But in truth, Dan, this is awareness, targeted awareness. Yeah, you'll see a little SEO lift, but you're such a big organization, it's not going to bring your percentages way up from this necessarily, but the attribution is going to be what content are people more interested in, what gets faster completion rates by creative. That's probably the biggest measurement, I would suspect. Fair question. What else do you guys want to know about this specific tactic? It's a layered strategy. There's a couple things we're doing here. Any other questions about YouTube?
I don't
So
think so. Go ahead, Bill.
Sure.
not necessarily about the YouTube, but we've got lots of videos. So we've got lots of stuff and we can cut it and we can do all different things. Do you give us the guidance on what type of video, the length? Is it 15 seconds? Is it whatnot? And what do we want to get across
Okay, I
in
love the
this
question.
mode? What are people looking for?
Okay, good question. So a couple things there. Number one, Bill, if you guys take advantage of the campaign I'm putting in front of you, one of the first things we're going to want to do is have a big creative meeting with a creative director on our end, of which we have like 6 for the whole company. Creative directors are more than a graphic designer. They understand business, and it'll be a creative meeting in which we can talk about what do we want these individual restaurant owners, right, B&B owners, school administrators to know. And we can deliver different video content to different audiences, right? Because you may want to have a video very specific to school administrators that speaks to nutritional value and kind of changing the paradigm. That's the video that goes to school administrators, which is different than the video that goes to an individual restaurateur.
Good.
In terms of the length, that's a great question too, because in marketing, you should have variation. You should have a 15-second and a 30-second of the school one, ideally, and you should have a 15-second and a 30-second of the restaurant one. And the reason for that is media buying is like Tetris. And it takes different shapes to kind of make sure you can fit things. And it's the same thing in media buying. If I have an opportunity and there's a 15-second slot available to slide you into in front of a restaurant owner, I don't want to miss that because I only have a 30, right? So having variation allows us to increase delivery and output, and then having variation of creative messaging tailors the message to different audiences, and then we can even test which message is working better for one audience versus another, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, we'll help you along the way. We're going to give you guidance. As I get to the end of this pitch, I'm going to talk about like what you can expect from us after we start the process, and that'll be part of it. Good question though. Anything else you guys want to know before I jump off YouTube?
Dan, I thought I cut you off.
No, I thought of something, but I think we can continue on.
Okay, let me if you need to come back to it, let me know. It's totally okay.
Yep.
So I'm going to take a step down in the old like marketing elevator here. Advanced audience targeting, guys, is true behavioral targeting. And we have really, really good data. We work with both first and third-party data at Townsquare. And I can target people with this tactic, again, based upon their job title. But now I'm reaching them outside of YouTube. Like layer 1 was, they happen to be in YouTube, I'm going to reach them there. This reaches them everywhere else. And so the goal here is to deliver you to people, again, that have the right job titles. We can add chef, executive chef, corporate chef, like all that. We can add that stuff in. And this will allow me to deliver you via banner ads and other video. And this video is pre-roll video. So you're probably more familiar, Dan. It's the, I can't skip it, I got to watch the gateway video. I can click it and go to a website, so it will drive site traffic. So this is designed to reach the right people, the business owners, the restaurateurs, the chefs, you know, Bill, and get them to actually click to Pacific Seafoods and start investigating you, sniffing around. Will they buy then? Probably not. Most people who click banner ads aren't purchasers yet. They're still kind of researching, learning, sniffing around. Some may purchase. That'd be great. If that's the case, you guys may be able to see that on the back end through your analytics, because Dan, we will UTM code everything. Like everything we send over is going to have itemized traffic, so you can see kind of where everything's coming from. This is still kind of branding. I mean, it's going to drive site traffic. It's going to target the right people. They don't have to be in YouTube at the time, and it'll show you people coming to the website in droves. If you can measure revenue, fantastic. It's just not SEM, so that's not something we would measure for you. This is layer number 2. Questions about this? The next couple of tactics are where it gets kind of sophisticated and cool. But anything else before I kind of leave this playground here? Nothing yet. Okay, totally cool. Layer 3, email marketing. So I took the time to define, and this is where I'm going to explain where the geo got a little bit bigger. We can tell through data who owns email addresses and the people that own the email addresses. And so I sourced, and again, Bill, I could add chefs here if you want. I said, I want to know how many email addresses could I target? And the owners of these email addresses own restaurants. They own bread and breakfasts. They are administrators for elementary, junior high, and high schools. Actually, I dropped colleges in there as well. They own small independent hotels, or they own like a catering company, that kind of stuff. But this is your audience, and it was 52,008 email addresses I have right now. Now I expanded the geo. Bill, you said give me Phoenix and Las Vegas. I didn't have enough bodies to fit the bill here, and this is a tactic that works really well. So I just folded in Tucson, Flagstaff, and Reno because they were fairly close. I figured, okay, it's in the same state. It's still a close approximation testing ground. If that doesn't work for you, you got to let me know and I'll kill this immediately. But there's a couple of layers to this. So I'm going to go past email for a minute, and then I'm going to come back to email, and here's why. I already know there's 52,008 email addresses owned by these people, and I can email them directly. But if you just send one email to a consumer, the response rates aren't great because there's nothing like branding other than just the email going out. So I can buy the physical postal address of every knucklehead on this list. So if you think about that for a second, not only can I send them an email, but now I can actually deliver them video or banner ads into their home and all the devices that they have in their physical place of residence and brand you to them all month long. That's this piece. You see how it says duplicate of email audience? So I've already priced it out. I know exactly what the cost is for me to identify the physical postal address of 52,000 people that are in Nevada and Arizona that are who you want to talk to. And my goal is to rain down on them in their home in banner ads and videos for about 30 days throughout the month and educate them. We are Pacific Seafoods. This is why you should use us. This is, whatever you want them to see. We can create variation of messaging and videos into those homes. And then at the end of every month, I want to email those guys. An email every single month. And the email is like normal email marketing. It has a bunch of different offers that are each like measured independently and click to different products and services. And we can change what the email says every month and like curate it and really focus on certain products and services, engage like interest levels and all that kind of stuff. But the bottom line is that I can brand you guys and create a lot of repetition for the people that you want to see. I can train them why they should care about Pacific Seafood all month long as they're hanging out on their couch doing what they do. And then I can hit them with an email at the end of every month. And then another reason that I like email is we're going to struggle a little bit with attribution here, right? Because Dan, you got paid search buttoned up, and that's how you're likely going to be able to measure revenue the easiest, and you have that in place. So obviously you can't have two SEM campaigns running at the same time. So what's nice about email marketing, guys, is at the end of every month, if you pass us a list of the email addresses of new vendors that you've picked up, we just picked up a bunch of new clients in Tucson, 50 new restaurants, like whatever it happens to be. Dan, if you pass us the email addresses of the business that you've newly acquired, I can balance that against the 52,000 email addresses I sent out and then pass you back the match rate. And say, oh, great. Okay, you got 50 new, clients from the greater Phoenix area. Here you go. Of that, 17, 13, whatever the number is, came from Townsquare. We actually know that's someone that we email and they reached out to you guys. So I can actually show you attribution that way outside of SEM. Because everything I can do to show you what you're getting is going to be really key to you being happy and us working together longer. So match backing is really important. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Any questions on those two layers, the buying the addresses, hitting people in the home, and then emailing them at the end of every single month, repeat? Like any questions about that?
Yeah, I'm curious on the email side, how that aligns with CAN spam and any kind of data privacy laws, and then how that logistically happens. Like, where does it send from? What is the receiving address? Do we have to do any IP warming?
Not at all. It's a great question. So let me flush that out for you a little bit. Number one, the ad copy, the email will appear as if it comes from you, not Townsquare. It will appear as if it's coming from Pacific Seafoods. Townsquare will have no whiff of that at all. In terms of open rates and all that fun stuff, we guarantee a 10% open rate. I normally hit 15 to 20, but we guarantee a 10%. We guarantee a 1% click-through rate. We often do much better than that. In terms of the the regulations, right? Spam and all that fun stuff. We are 100% compliant. And there are going to be people that have their email settings set up to it's going to put us into spam. That's going to happen. We have zero control over that. No media company has control over that. But that's why we guarantee certain rates of 10%, 1%. And I can show you, like, if it helps you guys at all, off the cuff. I have an email campaign I did not too long ago. I could literally show you the results. So you can see exactly what the numbers look like. No big deal at all. What else would you like to know, though? Did I answer your question?
Yeah, I think so. In terms of reply addresses, like, are we going to basically send this from sales reps who would be receiving new prospective customers, or would it just kind of be a general email that would drive people to a sign up page or a contact form?
Yeah, good question. So the email itself will have multiple clickable elements. Each could be different products or services, whatever you want. On average, there's usually like 6 to 8 different clickable elements in every email. Each can have its own destination URL, or you can funnel it all to one specific landing page if you are trying to kind of line things up with like a ghost page or something. You can absolutely do that. We don't create limitations on that at all whatsoever. And then the reporting will break out the interest level. So X number of people clicked this, X number of people clicked that. And then on the back end, if you want to assign some attribution, I love that. Like, the more attribution, the better. But it is not designed to generate emails on your behalf, but to drive traffic to a specific part of your website.
Okay.
What else you want to know? Great question. I'll tell you another layer, guys, which is cool if you're interested. I didn't price it this way, but if you want, in addition to everything else, you can purchase the actual list from us. If you want the physical postal addresses of these people on your own to use for your own purposes, we can offer that to you on top of everything else that I'm doing here. So if it makes sense and you want the physical addresses, let us know. We can get those for you. Any other questions on this email stuff, though?
No, when I'm looking at your list down here, though, I don't know that I would, maybe some of the locations that you've got, we'd probably want to put Salt Lake City in
Cool.
Because that's a cross dock for our Las Vegas location.
Okay.
Rather than Reno, Reno feeds into our Sacramento distribution location because that's closer. So that really, as we're targeting those two, that wouldn't fit.
Cool.
And then when you're looking at this, you also have trade schools down, and I'm not sure that trade schools are going to have cafeterias and doing those kinds of things as well too. So just we'll need to do some work on defining.
Absolutely. Look, and I'm not going to be a horse's patoot here, but I did ask you turkeys to give me a list of some stuff that never came over, and you're busy and I'm busy, so it's all good. And that's why I just made some educated guesses. But the truth is, I can nuance all this stuff, and it always happens. Like, Bill, seriously, I always bring a deck like this, and people are like, but we need to add this and reduce that, and can you add this layer? Totally. All I got to do is get better information than what I created on my own, and then rerun the numbers. But everything can be the same in terms of the monthly costs and all that. I'm just changing the geo, changing audiences. Easy to do.
Yep.
Okay. Other questions or concerns, though, before I keep going? And we're getting close to the end of the strategy part. There's not tons of layers to this. There doesn't need to be. But any other questions about what we've done so far?
Not for me.
Okay. So the next layer is retargeting, which I assume you guys are already retargeting users that go to the website. Dan, is that true currently?
We were doing some display retargeting for e-commerce, but we weren't seeing good returns, so we paused that effort for now.
Okay. I want to do video retargeting. I mean, I'm delivering video to consumers. It makes more sense that when they come to your site and leave that I follow them with more video. It's just, what are we going to say? And just let's make sure that if we do that, the video that follows them is different than all the video that brought them in. And in my experience, the retargeting messaging, whether it's a banner, a display ad, or a video, should say something that pulls the heartstrings. I really, truly believe that. And so if Pacific Seafoods gives back to community members, if you guys, like right now is, I think it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. If you guys are doing like fundraisers for like any of that stuff, and if you're not, that's fine. I'm not here to judge, but that's great marketing. If I'm a restaurateur and I'm trying to figure out what vendor am I going to use for my seafood delivery, and I go to your website and I start get followed with a video that says, thank you so much for even considering us. family-owned business for X number of years and we give back. In fact, we give 5% of profits back to like whatever. That's
Yeah,
a
we do a
really
lot of that.
strong message, right? So if you're
Yep.
doing that, that's great retargeting. And I want to follow people with video, not display ads. It's just better.
Yep.
So
Okay.
retargeting. I
And just
also
so you
want
know, it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, apparently. That's a learning for me, but it is also National Seafood Month.
say, hey, there you go. So great messaging. I'm telling you. And the cool part is we can swap these videos out fairly frequently as we have different things to say. It's totally cool. Like, I'd love to do it. And we can only pixelate certain pages if you want, that are where we're actually driving our traffic, or you can take that pixel and put it on all pages of the site and we'll just retarget tons of people with that video. Whatever you want, we're going to be nimble with you.
Sounds like we need to focus on pink salmon and get the double win.
Yeah, there you go. Nice. All right, any
Nice.
questions with retargeting, or should I move forward? You guys good?
Good.
All right. So a couple of things to know. Number one, we do the creative direction for free. We do the digital design for free. Video production, you probably don't need, but if you do need us to like edit down video and that kind of stuff, we're not going to charge for it unless we need to literally produce something from the ground up, and then there may be a charge for that. But we really try to keep it really easy on our clients. So just know that. 4 things I want to cover real fast. This won't take very long. If you end up working with us, and I hope you do, the first thing, I hope you guys appreciate, like, even if you say, no, we're not going to work with Townsquare, the strategy I just walked you through is custom to you. It was built custom for you based upon what you asked and what your output is, and so I built it for you. And if we start doing things like creating banner ads or whatever, the creative execution is going to be custom as well, and you would have that meeting with the creative director, usually within like 3-4 days of signing off if you have that time, like really fast. We want to start talking about messaging. Second bullet point says, everything that I've expressed to you will be done within the walls of Townsquare. I'm not going to farm you out to 3 or 4 other companies to get all this work done, because that sucks. Number one, they're all for profit, and so they're going to want a piece of the pie, which means less money goes to media, and that's not cool. So us doing the work means more spend goes to media. Secondly, if a change needs to happen with the campaign, it's not like I got to call another company to get the change done, and then 3 days later to confirm it happened. Our hands are on keys, and we're doing everything for the campaign. Third bullet point says, it's our job to let you know when we think something should be improved within the campaign. It's not your responsibility to wait until a reporting call and say, hey guys, it's not working. So we're going to be proactive. And our recommendations will be data-driven, not opinion-based. Because an opinion-based recommendation would be, our intern says that TikTok is everything, and you guys need to be all over TikTok because that's going to grow your revenue. No. A data-based one would be, we've looked at different audience segments that we're hitting, and these are not working as well, but these are, so we're going to do more of that and less of this. Or we have another company that does a similar thing than you do, and we've noticed a lot of success within this. We'd like to experiment. So it'll always be fact and data-based. And then lastly, we want to meet with you guys on a regular basis, as frequently as you guys want to meet. And it may be, hey, let's do it bi-weekly for the first quarter and then scale it back to every month or something, or we just want to meet with you monthly. Whatever you guys want, we're going to kind of tip our hat to you. But when we have those conversations, I don't want to talk about vanity metrics, because me like talking about how we've delivered you 100,000 times a month doesn't mean anything to you and as it relates to your bottom line. I want to talk about, are you getting new clients? Are these clients coming specifically from the cities in which we're targeting? How are we looking in terms of balancing the email addresses of new clients acquired against all the people that we've been talking to? Like those are actual metrics that are going to make sense. What videos are people watching? What are they not watching? What's the response rate to these school administrators separately from restaurateurs? Those are actionable conversations. Any questions on those 4 bullet points? Nothing? Okay, let's get to the numbers, guys. Bottom right-hand corner. If you guys did this for a whole year, it'd be 108 grand to drive new clients to the business. And that boils down to about 9 grand a month. There's a one-time charge of $1,200 if I buy the physical postal addresses of all those people that we want to talk to. I want to point out a couple of things though. Bottom line, both parties have the right to cancel 90 days after the start of the campaign with 30 days written notice. And it's important that you know that. Guys, marketing is an annual endeavor. You're going to be doing it year round. But the truth is, we're only going to obligate you to 90 days. Outside of that, you can punt us at any point in time and fire us and walk away. I need 90 days because that's the minimum amount of time required to get, to understand if a marketing strategy is working or not. So we're going to ask you to toe that minimum line. But after that, if it's not working, let us go, and there's no penalty, there's no charge, there's no nothing. I would rather the relationship be based upon the quality of our work than a contractual obligation. I don't want a hostage client. So just know that there's no long-term obligation here. But to skim the numbers just real fast. So these top two lines are us talking directly to restaurant owners and school administrators. We could add the chefs. We could drop community colleges and that kind of stuff. Like, it's all good. We can totally do that. Between video and display ads, that's about 130,000 times every single month that these groups of people are going to be getting videos and banner ads from you just to learn about Pacific Seafoods and your product offerings. Then I'm going to jump down to email marketing. So if I email 52,000 people for you, I can do that every single month, right? And then I'm going to retarget them, because all those restaurant owners that get this email and they open it and they engage with it, they click an offer, they go check out Pacific Seafoods. I don't want it to end there. So anyone that opens and clicks the email, I'm going to follow them for another week with an additional message from your company. Hey, thanks for checking out the email. Did you know we do this? Don't forget that. Click here now to take advantage of this discount. Like, whatever it is you want them to know. It's totally cool. YouTube. You guys are going to have 5,000 times every single month that the person that we target with your YouTube video, which are the restaurant owners and all those people, will watch that video to completion. I'm going to guarantee you 5,000 times a month they'll watch the whole video, whatever it is, without skipping 1 second of it. Then you've got the addressable piece. So these are the same people that I'm going to email, and I'm going to rain down on them in their home. If you add these two lines together, I mean, you're looking at almost 300,000 times a month. We're going to be talking directly to these restaurant owners while they're sitting in their living room before the email is even delivered. And then on top of all that, we'll match back stuff. We'll have you match the email addresses of new clients acquired, balance it against all the emails going out. So you guys are going to have transparency. The question I have for you guys, and I've had this since we left the table last time, and you may not have the answer, and that's okay. If we're going to talk ROAS, return on ad spend here, which is super important, I don't have a read on what a new kind of small average client is worth to you guys after expenses. And I don't know if you guys have that number, but if you pick up a new average restaurateur, a new average small hotel with a full service restaurant in it, what's the value to you guys? How long do you guys carry that client on average? Like, what are you making year over year? Do you guys have any numbers there so that, let's say we run this campaign and let's say we do it, and in any given month you get 15 new clients. I don't know what that 15 is worth. Do you?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at making 4% on each customer. When you're looking at the small restaurants,
okay,
there's a lot. And we've actually had to fire some customers when we started the pandemic started, because it was costing us more for delivery, because we just, to make that stop and all that kind of stuff, we were losing money on those things. So it's a really, really tight margin, and we got to pick up quite a few. And then it also needs to be on a route. And you know, if they can do a couple of days a week delivery, that's better, because if they're expecting it every day, again, that may not be profitable for us.
Yep, makes sense.
And we're just dealing with the proteins. So, and then if they just want one or two items, sometimes those are customers. So it's really thin. That's why a number like this for just those two distribution centers is maybe out of reach, because of the volume that we would have to sell to just make the number to pay this.
Okay, so if we're focused on two distribution centers, it makes it a little wonky. What's the sweet spot?
Well, and we're just focused on their food service business, which takes a lot of different individual restaurateurs to because you know, you look at an item, you go to a restaurant and they may carry two items on their menu that have seafood. You know.
What? How far off?
I don't have an exact number, but I just know that that's how that works for the team.
Okay, that's going to be a super important piece of information, because at the end of the day, Bill, this needs to be profitable to you guys, or it doesn't make sense. Like, it just doesn't make sense. So what I kind of need from you guys, and there's not a pressure thing, is if you like the strategy. If the strategy is sound, you're like, I get the strategy. I like it. It seems like it would work. But from a price point perspective, I don't think we could turn enough business to make it profitable. I kind of need you to help me out. Where do we need to land if we're not in the right place?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why, I mean, I'm assuming you're going to send this as well, and I can have a conversation with some
Sure.
of the sales managers or the GMs at the different locations, and but I got to educate them a little bit about what we think we can turn into sales. So as I'm looking at this,
Mhm.
because I'm going to have to work it backwards as well too. So if we're getting X number of accounts through this tactic, how does that look? And you also said there is the opportunity with restaurants. It's a little more difficult because you've got, I don't know what the number is. It's astronomically high of those that open and close within
the turnover.
first year.
It's like 82%, I think, turnover.
I was gonna say exactly that. So it's not like the long-term value is going to be the same in the restaurant business of getting some of these new customers.
And that's important because something that you need to, and I think your head is already there. So I may be kind of telling you what you already know, but there is the long-term projected profit of a new customer acquired beyond a single point of delivery. And I get what you're saying. If you help us acquire 10 restaurants and out of 10, 8 go under, then we really need to be looking at the remaining 2 and the lifetime profit over average chain or average order per month and all that fun stuff. So I think there's some math to be done on your end to see, does this make sense? To answer your question, yeah, you're going to get this deck. And frankly, remember, I recorded this whole conversation. So if you need to, you can literally have your staff watch everything that we're saying right now so they can hear it and absorb it. So you don't have to kind of like parlay it, do the old grapevine thing, whatever you need. And if you need to have a secondary meeting, all I want to do is make it easy for you. If it would make sense after you talk internally to set up a follow-up meeting, I don't care if we have your sales force from different locations on and I can talk directly to them and answer questions or whatever you want. I want to make it easy on you as our end goal.
Yeah, but this is good. I appreciate this. This is well done. Dan, you got any questions?
Just one clarification. So you're saying in the volume column, that's all monthly?
Correct. Every single month. It's a lot.
And you would imagine that those would be discrete audiences. So for the programmatic video, 45,000 new people each month, or would a good portion of those be repeat?
A lot of it's going to be repetitious because if you think about, there's probably 16% transient population in any city in the US. So, and every year about 16% of the population moves out, a new 16% moves in. And if that's the case, you're going to have a lot of duplication here. I would say the lion's share of this is going to continue going to the similar audiences as identified by their behaviors and data. And there's the probably 20%, give or take, that's going to be going to new people. And frankly, in all candor, there are going to be people that come on vacation in Phoenix. Let's be real, like transparency is key. So I'm always going to be transparent. You start talking about people that own restaurants and stuff, there are going to be people that travel to Phoenix to play golf who live in Sheboygan, New Jersey. That's the truth. And they go down to play golf and their job title is a restaurateur. Our campaign's going to pick them up because they're physically in the Phoenix area and the data says they're a restaurant owner and they're going to start getting videos and banner ads. That's bad on one end because they don't live in the area. That's good on another end because what if they go back to Sheboygan and give you guys a call and say, hey, can you deliver out here? But that's a truth. It's going to pick up people that come into the area that have job titles that don't belong there. The lion's share is going to be delivered to people that are there constantly. Does that help?
Yeah, that's would be nice to add to this because the 2 locations we've picked, Vegas and Phoenix, you got a lot of folks
traveling in, traveling
quite
out.
often.
100%. Do you see that as a positive or a negative?
I see that as a positive for us.
Okay.
So it's not going to hurt. So then I can turn around, this isn't just for those markets, that it's going to help brand awareness for all of our locations and our entire footprint, even though we're targeting 2 markets.
True. And really, just so you know, Bill, I don't want to like muddy the waters, but I could have taken this campaign and looked at the entire country and said, give me all the executive chefs in the United States, but it made more sense to isolate a couple of markets so that you could have a better transparency over what you get. What other questions, guys? It's okay. We got 15 minutes left, and I'll give you every minute. I just want to make sure you're comfortable. Even if you don't do this with us, I want you to feel comfortable with it.
Yeah, so would you say over time, like first 90 days, the reach is going to be pretty high, and then after a year, maybe that flips and you have much more frequency because you're repeating and reaching the same people over, even if there is, 16% transient population or new people that come online, whether it's new data or new information. Do you often see the spend changing or having to switch up tactics once you kind of saturate that initial audience?
Yeah, we'll definitely be making changes because it's a good point. This is the out of gate strategy. And remember that the bullet points that I walked you through post, like once we get started, these are things to know. You will absolutely be nuancing the campaign over time as we learn things. I mean, one of the things that I'd like to do, Dan, I can't remember if we talked about this last week. I'd like to put a first party data collecting pixel on your website like tomorrow, so that we can start gathering a bunch of insights on the people that are coming to your campaign or to your website, because 90 days down the road, I'm going to learn things that is going to materially impact this. Like we may learn things like, whoa, why aren't we hitting that audience? We should be. Let's add that to the campaign. Let's switch to this tactic because it's going to work better based on what we've learned. So this is your out of the gates campaign. However, it doesn't mean cost is going to go up. Doesn't mean I'm going to say, okay, we're in month 4, let's dump 10 grand a month on it because we got to do this. It's a collaborative effort. We're going to hit saturation at some point. Not exactly sure when that's going to be. We're going to be looking at that the entire time.
Okay.
What else you guys want to know? Good question.
So when you were talking before about pricing, and we led off with the YouTube, and you said it's 15 cents per click. Then we have this chart that we're looking at right now that has a $7.50 figure for the month.
Yeah.
That's not a hard number then.
It is. Actually, what it's saying is this is a contract. So we're saying in this contract, you give us $7.50 a month, and we're going to guarantee 5,000 times every single month within your target audience. We're going to get people to watch that entire video to completion to the tune of 15 cents. It's never going to go above the 750. But what's cool is, considering we hit an 82% complete view rate, I'm going to have to deliver you about 7,500 times to nail 5,000 completed views. But the truth is, if something changed in the world and I had to deliver you 100,000 times to get the same 5,000, that's my problem, not yours. You still get your 5,000. It's a contract. There's no variables as far as that's concerned. This is what you pay. This is what you get. If we don't do a good enough job, fire us. No long-term contract. We're going to do what we say we're going to do. Any other questions? It's okay. There's no bad question. I tapped you guys. I tapped you out. I tapped the questions. Cool. Guys, I appreciate you going through the process of just hearing everything, and good questions, by the way. I can tell you guys are engaged. We will absolutely ship this deck over to you. We will kick you a link that has the whole recording of everything that I've discussed. Share it with whomever you want. I kind of need to get a read on how much time needs to pass before we reach back out to you, because irons should be hot, right? So we can continue the conversation. How much time do you think you guys need to have some internal dialogue before we can figure out whatever that next step is?
I'm going to be down at a food show that we're doing in Reno with the Sacramento team next week. So I'd like to have this with me to have some informal conversations there as well. So at least a couple of weeks before we jump back together.
Okay. So why don't we kick this stuff off to you today? Totally cool. Bob and team, why don't you guys put a reminder to give these guys a holler in like 2 weeks, and at that point we'll figure out like, how do you want to proceed? Again, if you want to have a secondary meeting with your sales staff or whatever, we're totally happy to do that. Whatever you want. Like, we're going to be as easy to work with as we can be. And if anything happens between now and then, let us know. Just kick us an email. Let us know. We want to meet sooner. Hey, or if you want me to adjust things, like seriously, kick an email to us after the fact. Add Salt Lake City, drop Reno, add this city, do that. Let's add chefs, get rid of community colleges. Anything that you want me to change the campaign, I'll nuance it. And in fact, If you want, I'll make those changes before I kick this back out to you, unless you want me to wait. Like, however you want to handle that is totally fine.
I would just leave it like it is right now.
Okay.
Because, we can always change those later on. This
Totally.
is just for conversation persons and we've really got to figure out if at the end of the day, targeting these customers, is this going to be a plus on the plus side for us or not?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I know these are new waters. I totally get it, and that's okay too. So then let me just finish by saying thank you for the time. Bob et al., Kevin, if you guys have anything you need to get out there, feel free. But I just appreciate you guys going through the process and giving me the opportunity to build the strategy. To me, it's a puzzle. It's fun. I enjoy the process, and I like kind of going through it with you guys. So thanks for that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Bob, anything from you? Or are you good?
I'm good.
Okay, then gentlemen, Dan, Bill, have a good remainder of your day. Look out for an email sometime the next hour or so that'll have this presentation as well as the recording. And if we don't hear from you first, we'll be contacting you with about 2 weeks. Cool?